I finally got Mehmet's ambition done. After hours and hours of trying and failing, I finally figured out what worked. Well, kind of, because you can see this is pretty scuffed, even though it technically worked. Let's take a look at our situation here at the end for a little bit of fun. We're at 518.5% overextended. Not too bad on GovCap. Obviously, we're at -3 stability, 11 war exhaustion. Normal things. The rebels check the country. They're only 36% of the way there, so it's really not a huge deal. And funny enough, I actually think that you could recover from this. I want to talk about how I did it and kind of some things I learned along the way. I want to give a shout out to one of my viewers recommending PDX Unlimiter. It has been super cool. I really like it. Basically, it helps you save scum faster, which you guys can judge me all you want for that. It also has this feature that basically lets you make a backup at any point. You just hit Control-Shift-I, and it basically imports a backup for you, so it saves you a lot of time, right? And with this tool, I kind of wanted to walk through every time I took a backup. So every couple years I took a backup, so I can actually tell the story of what happened in the game pretty decently with this tool. And let's go ahead and show you that. Start off, I would restart my game over and over until I finally got a good siege general. So I finally got this 5 siege Giga Chad general. From there, I would get this advisor that they give you for cheaper, so I could get the cannons. I'm going to show you what I did at the start. I'm just going to go ahead and do it again. Maybe I won't do all the estates and stuff like that, but I want to at least go through the opening awards and opening choices. So I grab my second general as per usual to get the first mission done. This is going to give you claims on Byzantium, and I guess in my game, it was only Byzantium when I did it, but it doesn't really matter. Wallachia can be here too. Go ahead and declare war with this guy. And I want to show you guys real quick what a 5 siege general with cannons in 1444 might look like. So we start the siege here. Normally we'd be at -28, but when our guy hits there, it's going to take that -28 to 0. Cool. Let's see how many ticks does it take. 88 days. Constantinople. If you have the patience for it, it's going to help you get off to a great start. Although I just got memed here and it's a 225-day siege. Just goes to show you can still get bad luck even with a good siege general. Now, this is important. Start improving relations with Burgundy. And of course, that's because we are going for the inheritance. 73 days. I mean, not bad. I'll let this guy go home. Whatever. He don't matter to me. So the important thing in the first war is basically, yeah, you just take everything. I'm just redoing it to show you guys this. And you're going to get a mission here that lets you move your capital that you're going to want to select. Now, this war is the second war I do, and this guy's, he wasn't allied to this guy in this case, but it's kind of annoying that he's allied to that guy because, it's the guy that I would have gone after later, but doesn't really matter. In this case, I just want to show you the concept, how we do things early game, because it actually is kind of important. So I would just grab these 2 provinces in this war and end it. I want to show you this because it's kind of critical, this part of it at least. But what you'll want to do here is you just got these new provinces down here, basically. You're going to try to convert one of these newly acquired provinces as so. And then you wait a month tick, and you'll notice you should be getting some religious rebels, rather. And you'll see this. You can't quite convert yet, but what you can do to convert is simply go and release this nation here. And then what I like to do is you'll need to grant them 1 more province, like so. And once you do that, you should be able to give in to these rebel demands as such. So accept demands, that's fine. And I haven't quite improved enough with Burgundy yet, but let's get there, right? Let's send an insult. Just kidding, we don't have prestige to do that. I lied. We didn't do our patronage or any other mana privileges. This is just an example of what I did, but that should help. And I chose to grab Kenya as a friend. I don't know, that's just what I did in my game. Whether that's the right choice or not, I couldn't tell you. Also, make sure you don't select a replacement reform as you're going to be swapping back after you get your situation here with Burgundy all sorted out. So I should have been improving relations from the beginning of the game. I was a little late, and that's part of why it's taking a little bit longer. But let's try to make similar rivals too. We could do like England or Austria as rivals. Could even turn up my maintenance and try to give him a gift. He would like that. Give Burgundy the old gift. There he goes. Now he's got the heart. Okay, throw an alliance this way. And then, yeah, once you do that, you should be able to get a royal marriage. The Burgundian inheritance is very good for 2 reasons. 1, that it's just free land and it gets you up. You need some of this land anyways, but for 2, it gives you an automatic dismantle the HRE without having to fight. And I'll show you guys that in a bit here. Now, to swap your religion back, it's quite simple. I'm just going to go ahead and release the nation here of Achia, or Chea, I'm not sure how you say it. Now you just find a province over here and attempt to convert it. And wait a month, there you go, it's going to be for Ottomans, and you can hit accept. One thing I want to show you here, though, is critical, because it's broken, is what you actually can do is don't hit this button, just put it off to the side for a second. Now what you want to do is go into your Alema state here, and you want to select grant local resident to scholar. And then you can select this grant the privilege to the scholar of the hand volley school. And then you're going to go in here and go ahead and invite that scholar for that grass expansion impact. And then you probably guessed it by now, but we're going to click this and we get a double. We get to double up. So we get that bonus twice, which is super nice. And that'll only work for 20 years, but it so happens that that's relevant. It's helpful, basically. And I want to give a shout out to the user Fernheim, maybe how you say it, as he came up with the idea for both the inheritance and the double aggressive expansion things. So huge shout out to you. Appreciate your help on that one. I also want to shout out everyone that would jump in the streams and help me out too, would give me different ideas or things like that. Really actually helped a lot. So thanks guys for those that tuned into the live stream. Picking up for one of my saves on the 27th of December, 1453. And now what's suspicious about this save time? Well, it happens to be 3 days before the next trade is picked. And I think you guys may know where I was going with this one. I would Alt F4 until I got careful. However, I got it on the 3rd try, which was pretty hype. I thought I was going to be stuck doing a lot of birding. It means pressing Alt F4 a lot. I don't know why it's even called birding, but I like it. Here we pick them in July 1463. Why am I at this date? Well, it's another Alt F4. It's another round of birds. So it is, this date marks the pulse event, and let's for fun, let's see if I get it, or a pulse event my first try. I think it's August. Nope, Spiring was busted. But the pulse event that I was trying to get for is that -20 aggressive expansion impact that I've been using in my last few videos, kind of having some fun with, and I thought this actually could work for this achievement quite well. So I thought I'd try it, and it does work quite well. Now, I would actually just go influence though. I wouldn't like drop it. I would just go full influence, because influence I figured out is the absolute key to success when it comes to the Ottomans. I feel like influence was built for this nation after I tried influence. Normally I don't really love vassals, so I don't tend to like influence, but man, was this idea built for the Ottomans or what? And to demonstrate, I had completed my first war with the Mamluks here. However, I hadn't pushed into the east too far. It also released Iraq and Basra in a war here, as you can see. So I have more or less, let's look at my map here. Oh, I can't see the achievement anymore. Never mind. I still had some work to do in the east, and I hadn't really touched over here at all by 1463. And once I got the pulse event, I would change that. I would definitely go straight into Serbia, Bosnia, that sort of thing. One thing to note, I was improving relations with the electors throughout the game as much as possible in preparation for the inheritance to happen. And I'll show you guys why I was doing that later. The next save point was 10 years later, suspiciously exactly, because I was going for the pulse event, round 2 with influence. I'd eventually get the -20% AE again, and honestly, this one sucked. It took like 20 tries. The other one took like 3. This one felt painfully bad, but we finally got it. All's well. To quickly recap what I did for the wars, is I actually attacked Serbia, who was allied to the Papal States, and I co-belligerated the Papal States to take his land so I could get a justified invasion on Naples. And then I would fight Aragon and make him return promises to Naples, as well as release these 2 guys as subjects. And the inheritance still had not fired at this point, which was frustrating, I suppose, but also not bad, because he's, if you can see, he's kind of expanding on his own a bit. So you never hate to see that. I had also made no further progress to the east. About a year later, the Burgundian inheritance would finally happen. I want to show you guys how incredibly awesome this technique is too, because it's just insane. So basically, I would just go ahead and set my promises of interest here to a bunch of stuff over here, because essentially when the Burgundian inheritance happens, Austria is going to demand the Lowlands back, and he'll declare an offensive war against you, which is ridiculous, by the way. I would use this to dismantle the HRE without actually doing anything, and also taking Vienna. So pretty awesome. I just wanted to actually show you guys that again, so I made a save of how that worked. The real game, I would actually use this time to declare war for the Ottoman invasion of the Mamluks, and I would take them as an islet. And what would happen here is I would ally to all the electors. So you can see I am allied to all the electors save for one, which I was frantically improving relations with, which I can see that I got the relations in time. And I actually wouldn't ally him straight away, because if I did, it would break alliance with a different elector. So once it popped up, I would hit offer alliance, and then I would hit all of Burgundy is ours. Just to demonstrate this, I'm going to sit here and do nothing with my troops and show you guys what that looks like. So you can see this war is ridiculously one-sided, right? Even if you take my guys out of the scenario, which is a huge part of it, yes. But we basically have, all the electors, Poland, Bohemia, and the Timurids, I guess. doing this war. And yeah, in the meantime, I would be fighting the Mamluks. But I just wanted to illustrate how awesome this is. And yeah, can you guys imagine the Timurids coming over to take Vienna for the Ottomans? And I wanted to demonstrate this. My guys never left here. I did nothing. And I can go ahead and dismantle the HRE without ever setting a troop anywhere near Vienna. And as a side note, I could also take Vienna. Why not? Vienna is a nice place, I hear. And I did that without even fighting, which is ridiculous, by the way. So now let's look at January 1483. So I would basically play the same year, like over and over and over until I got the horse event. And it kind of sucked. I did it on stream. It probably took 10 times. It took like 20 minutes to do. It was a little bit annoying, but it wasn't too bad. I finally get the inheritance after this point. This is basically the point at which I would go back to and try again, the same year again and again. So here's the point where I got the inheritance, and I want you to notice where we are. We have 17 years, well, maybe almost like 16 years left to conquer everything. We haven't touched England, Castile, Portugal, a little bit of Aragon, but hardly ever. We haven't even war with France yet. Not to mention we still have basically a lot of Italy left, and we just did a war with Venice. And what we did with Venice was interesting. I want you guys to know this. I made him release a bunch of OPMs, like this guy, this person, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, so like 6 or 7 OPMs. And I was able to ally and to vassalize all of them, because they get a plus 100 when they get released, like from release in peace plus, it gets plus 100. So it's super easy to get them as islets. So it would take me a few months to get those all locked in, but then I would kind of prep to go to what you might call the point of no return. What does that mean? It means that everyone needs to be attacked at the same time that's remaining, or the coalition, or else they'll be in a coalition. So how I did this was I attacked Savoy, and I would pull in a bunch of people here. So I would belligerate Lucca, Florence, Aragon. I waited until the truce was up with Aragon, which was a little bit longer, but then also Milan, and I would declare this war. I was allied to Scotland before I declared any of the wars, and before I ended that war, I would actually land on Scotland land, who I was actually allied to, and I would invade England, and I would co-belligerate Portugal and Castile in this war. And at the same time, I would have to attack this guy, because he's technically part of the achievement, and I would have to attack Genoa and pull in France. So basically, I would be fighting France, Castile, Portugal, England, Genoa, and Aragon at the same time. However, it was surprisingly easy because France, Castile, and Portugal were literally clowning around, don't know where they were, in Egypt or something, because they didn't even show up to the fight until it was like already over. Literally, France got fully sieged without a single battle occurring because he was out off somewhere clowning. So we got a little bit of luck there. I was prepared to fight them though. Like as you see right now, I have a lot of guys. Like I have 165 guys. So I was very prepared, and honestly, if I would have had to fight them, it would have been fine. But it was kind of nice that they just let me siege them out without much contesting. Although England, of course, fought back. He was here. And really, Castile and Portugal arrived. Basically, just France was out of the war. And you know, that got to take a win when you can get it. So let's jump to 1490 now. 10 years left to go. This is the aftermath of that war, more or less. All these wars. So I would take Granada. I would take a little bit of Portugal, a little bit of Spain to release these people. These would eventually be released, and Reconquest. Same with here. I would release these guys, and more or less that's what that looked like. I would still need another war with Aragon, and of course I'd need a lot more wars. So I did handle England though, so that was good. But I had 10 years left. I needed to grab this province here, and then just kind of like all of this. And I needed to finish off just a couple, like Venice and one other guy here. So it was actually wrapping up pretty nicely, but when they had 10 years, so things got rather stressful. And I would actually sit at max points for a while, because I was playing the truce break, and I thought I needed the points to do so. Picking up at December 23rd, 1493, we actually had a lot to do still. And basically, I would end up taking max loans at this point, because that's just how it had to go. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, I was already in debt 53k, but I could still take quite a bit of money. And I'll show you guys again here what I ended up taking. I believe I ended up taking 25k, and then when I upgraded Granada, so this is what I kind of did with the money here, it would actually give me more income from vassals. So when I got more income from vassals, I was actually able to take more loans. As you can see, as you can get even more loans. So I took, yeah, 28k, 29k here. Now the trick with this was actually kind of complex because the interest is actually so high at this point. So I'm paying 260 a month in interest. So I'm going to go bankrupt eventually. So you had, and it was bad. It was like, because this is like when when you're not at war, nothing's being sieged, you're not replenishing units, that sort of thing. But during the actual wars, it would be like negative 300 a month. So you can imagine that like I had to have good money. So what I would do is upgrade Granada to rank 3 for the admin efficiency, and I can show you what that looks like. So as you can see, I had roughly about 12k to stave off the bankruptcy for the remaining of the game. And you can see at this point I'm 86k in debt. And I'll show you what the final debt is in my other game. I think it might be even higher. But from this point, I would basically just have to I'd have to truce break France twice, truce break Castile once, truce break Aragon. So we had, let's see, yeah. So we had a total of 4 truce breaks over here, and then I would have to finish off Venice, and I would have to fight Austria for these 6 provinces over here. I also got fortunate in that the fact that Portugal took Fez and Genoa ended up taking Tunis, so I didn't actually have to like do separate wars. I didn't have to attack Tunis or Morocco. It's kind of weird. So that's just how that worked out. And that brings us back to the end of the game. Let's take a look at those. Let's take a look at those loans we mentioned. Where are we with that? Because it's rough out there. Yeah, we're almost 100,000 in loans that we owed, which is ridiculous. I was losing 508 a turn, so I only had 4 months left before I was bankrupt. So it was kind of tight. As you can see, the nation's getting destroyed by rebels everywhere. It's really thrilling. But I kind of just had to ignore the rebels and just conquer, and ignore the overextension and conquer, and just -3 stability, 12 corruption. I had to take max corruption, debase my currency to the max so I could survive a few more months without going bankrupt, which was ridiculous. But it was tough, but we pulled through, and it wasn't the cleanest run, as you guys could see. Take that as you will. I'm not sure I'm saying like, hey, this is a strategy you should use. I'm just kind of showing you what works for me and how I finally got the achievement. And I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of recap or walkthrough of how I did it. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.